outcome of courtroom. Conciliation is an opportunity out of courtroom docket dispute decision instruments like mediation. Conciliation is a voluntary, flexible, confidential, and hobby primarily based totally method. The events are seeking for attain an amicable dispute agreement with the help of the conciliator, who acts as an impartial party. It is saying that conciliation or reconcile or settle disputes between the disputants or parties who are having disputes with aid of the third party called conciliation. The most important distinction among conciliation and mediation lawsuit is that sooner or later, for the duration of the conciliation, the conciliator may be requested through the events to offer them with a non-binding agreement proposal. In your exam, you may be asked what is the major difference. The major difference is that the major difference is that there is an event to offer the non-binding agreement that it is not binding, but in mediation it is. A mediator, through contrast, will in maximum instance and as a count number of principles choose from making this type of proposal. Conciliation is a voluntary proceeding wherein the events concerned here are loose to agree and try to clear up their dispute through conciliation. It is voluntary in that it can before the conciliator will start to resolve the dispute between the two parties or the two aggrieved parties. You have to ask you, do you agree with us or not? The method is flexible, permitting the event to outline the time, shape, and content material of the conciliation lawsuit. These lawsuits are not often public. They are hobby, primarily based totally because the way which presenting an agreement now no longer most effective. Do not forget the event, position. However, actually they are commercial, monetary, and non-public interest. It is a system through which one or greater impartial persons choosing through the decision to facilitate an agreement in their dispute through a specific. The function of the conciliator is facilitating the system, and final results also are non-binding. It is not binding. Take note, like mediation binding. That's what I'm saying. Meeting we exam. What is different between conciliation and mediation? Mediation is binding once we agree. The most significant relationship between the two of them are agreement. You must agree in two of them. But the divergence aspect of it is this one is not binding. The other one is binding. The agreement reached in conciliation quantities are present to gentleman's agreement. The arbitration and conciliation act offers for proper to settle dispute through conciliation. Section 3755 stipulates provisions for conciliation for dispute in Nigeria. Provision of Section 35 of the Act confers proper to settle dispute through conciliation. It empowers the conciliator to discover possibilities for the agreement or disputes earlier than him. The Arbitration and the Conciliation Act affords as follows, notwithstanding the other provision of the Act, the parties to any agreements may seek amicable settlement of any dispute in relation to the agreement by conciliation and the provision of this part of the Act. Objectives. After studying this lesson, you as a student is expected to be able to debate, point out the relevance of conciliation disputes, as well as the features, benefits, drawback, and the processes. Conciliation and mediation. In Nigeria, conciliation and mediation are used interchangeable for the cause of arbitration. Conciliation Act as a widespread rule. Conciliation is basically ruled. Conciliation is basically ruled via way of means of selection of the parties, but it is also ruled via way of means as operative in Nigeria, in which there are statutory provisions on the conciliation. Note that they are not the same, even if Nigeria uses them interchangeable. Conciliation every so often serves as an umbrella time period that covers all mediation and facilitation and adversary dispute decision processes. No conciliation method determines an outcome. Each proportion many similarities. For example, each procedures contain an impartial third celebration who has implementing powers. One enormous distinction among conciliation and mediation lies within the realities that conciliation own professional expertise of the area wherein they conciliate. They make us for argument phases and might supply recommendation at the subject matter. Conciliators can also additionally use their position to actively inspire the event to return back to a resolution. In short varieties of disputes, the conciliator has an obligation to offer felony information. This enables any settlements reached to observe any applicable statutory framework referring to the dispute. Therefore, conciliation can also additionally encompass an adversary aspect. On the alternative hand, mediation works in simple terms. Facilitation. The practitioner has no adversary role. Instead, a mediator seeks to assist a to share information of the law and to painting towards constructing a sensible and lasting resolution. Conciliation agreements. Parties to settlement may also determine that disputes bobbing up therefrom will be settled through conciliation. See section 3742 of ACA 2004. The conciliation clause is simplest desire to be ensured with inside the seizable settlements. The clause may also examine that if any dispute or distinction shall arise among the event to settlement from or reference to this settlement or its performance, production, or interpretation, or otherwise, the event shall endeavor to solve it through settlement, through negotiation performed in true faith. If they are not able to agree, the issue shall, with inside the first instance, be handled with the aid of using conciliation. Can be selected collectively with the aid of using them. Sometimes it can be agreed that the conciliator be appointed with the aid of using dispute. This kind of dispute may arise in any field of commercial endeavor, including those arising from corporate disputes, franchise, agency, intellectual property, industrial, and labor disputes. Second one is family dispute. Conciliation is confidential in nature and is particularly suitable for the settlement of dispute between the husband and wife in matters related to separation of children, property, and finance. Although this method of ADR is yet to be fully in Nigeria, countries like America have embraced this method. Community and neighborhood disputes. Communal disputes are regularly very risky and may stand up In numerous ways, disputes can stand up from use of land or water. It also can be religious, ethnic, or racial issues involving needs for repayment of environmental damages on account of the exploitation of crude oil may be settled amicably via conciliation. International disputes. International disputes bobbing up among events from distinctive countries or disputes bobbing up among sovereign states who will now no longer want to negotiate without delay with the alternative United States for motive of prestige. The choice of the event to conciliate also additionally rise anytime with the inside direction of resolving the differences. It can be selected because the first step in resolving a struggle or two, or it can be hired at the degree where negotiations have failed among the events. Where talks in negotiation becomes deadlocked, events might also additionally determine to conciliate the independent view of conciliator will be given to the event to reach at a settlement. Note that anything ADR stands for alternative dispute resolution. All the ADR dispute resolution, there's nothing like criminal. They don't handle anything criminal cases. Criminal cases is ultravised to ADR method. Talk of ADR, we talk of this conciliation, mediation, and other means of settlement of disputes without the use of courtroom. They don't handle criminal matters. In conclusion, as visible from the road of discussion is able to thoroughly deduce that using conciliation as an opportunity method of settling disputes on this United States is not always without a doubt popular, but it is far positive that because the instance move through the technique will achieve extra use through the court and disputants are alike. Summary: the conciliation process involves the consent of the parties to a conciliation agreement by a third party of their choice to resolve their dispute, giving them options that will lead to a settlement. In conciliation, they always settle a dispute with the aid of third party called a conciliator. Then, before the dispute to be settled, the aggrieved parties have to ask, do you agree? Do you want this dispute to be settled by us? It is after the agreement of the aggrieved parties before conciliation has to start negotiating or resolving their problem. Without them consenting or agreeing to conciliation to negotiate or to settle their dispute, conciliation will not settle the dispute. And know that after the settlement, it is not binding, unlike mediation, which is binding. Thank you. We are done with conciliation. Please, if there's any question, let me know.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Charles, and I'm very much pleased. As it stands now, I don't have any question. Yes.
Okay. What of others?
Yes, we have Martin on the line. I don't know if he has any, but yeah, I'll let him speak for himself. Yes, thank you.
All right, okay, sure. I have a question.
Okay, go on. I'm listening.
Yeah. Is it mandatory that the parties that are on dispute, that they have to choose the person who's going to reconcile them, or what? Is it mandatory about that?
You don't choose now. Once you come to conclusion, it's a matter don't even. But the only problem that will arise there is that, except maybe you might have come, notice that the party has interest, because what the rules that it must be settled by a neutral party. You underline the word neutral. It must settle by a third neutral party. Do you get it? The only way you have to choose the decision, maybe you notice that the conciliator has interest. Did you get it? You can now choose. But you cannot just come and meet someone and say that you will introduce this. This is a conciliator that has to dispute, what is it called? Settle or negotiate your dispute. You start saying you cannot. No. You have to give your reason. Maybe say, I've known this person, or this person knows this person. It should have interest. That is the only reason that will make them to change it. Without it, I don't think there's nothing that will make them to change it. Hello, did you get what I said?
Yes, I got your point.
I answered your question.
Yes, you have actually answered my question, and I have another question. You said
Go
something
on.
that the decision that is made, the decision in conciliation, it's not binding on the parties. So
Yes,
why is it so?
I know. Every method, every dispute resolution method has its own rules and regulation. It is not binding. Does not mean that once you agree something, it is not binding means that it consults other one. Maybe it may go to mediation or go to court. Did you get it? Did you get it?
Yeah, I get.
As in, maybe after settling, if you're not satisfied, you can still appeal. Unlike mediation, once you agree, it is final.
Okay.
And people always
Right.
prefer it because it is soft. It is very flexible, unlike other ones.
All right. Okay. I get the point.
And this is what differentiates it from mediation and others. Continue. If there's another question, ask.
That's
I
all.
hope
No
I've
question.
answered your question.
Yes, you have answered my questions.
Do you have any other one?
At the moment, I don't have any question.
Okay. I think in absence of no question, we're ending today's lecture. Thank you. Tomorrow is mediation for 21st century lawyers.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.